Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? Live in YouTube.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
everybody.
Greetings, world.
Hi, anyway, everybody. How is everybody doing? Sorry. Live in YouTube. Something.
Hello. Greetings, world.
Okay. Um, I hope now it's better. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can
Um,
hear you.
yeah, because it was going on the background.
I know. I know.
Anyway, everybody, welcome to Trust Gurus. We are here again after a long pause. I've been traveling a little bit in Europe and actually in Europe, and yeah, I had an exhibition as well in New Orleans. But I'm back here again, and we are big here again. So, first of all, I would like to tell that Jimmy, she had her surgery. She's still getting better from the surgery, and we're sending her our big love, and that everything gets better soon, and you recover 100%. That's the first thing.
Well,
And the
thank you.
second thing is that we'd like to talk today about families, about friendship, about our really great family, which is called a transgender family as well, which is very important. So that is a little bit of what we want to talk about. Okay. So talking about this, who wants to go first? Bobby, go ahead.
Well,
I know you have a very,
it
very
was
good
it was
family.
funny. It's been like 3 weeks since we did this podcast, and I was getting pretty lonely. I missed you all, so I'm. It's funny how much I look forward to being with you and having all these great discussions, and I always learn something myself. Um, I gosh, when I think about we were talking just a little bit before we started, and loneliness is something that's not unique to the trans community. Of course, people all over the world are experiencing loneliness, and but it does seem to affect a lot of us a lot, and I think a lot about that and what the reasons are, and there it's not a black and white issue. There's not just one reason why we feel some loneliness, but I think when it comes to me, one of the most important things for me was uh, in transition. I have a really large family. I have four grown children who are all married. So four of mine and their four spouses, eight, and then there were 10 grandchildren, and then there were the parents that birthed those children. So there's 20 of us. There's 20 of us in my immediate family. And more than anything, I was really determined to bring all of them along with me. It was like this was not going to be successful. And I've said many times over our programs that I'm a huge mental health advocate, and I love my therapist. I try to go twice a month at least, and talk a lot about what's going on at home, what's going on in the marriage, where all the kids are, and how to do this. And so I talk to a lot of people about how to come out, uh, and it was real funny with my four kids. Um, they were one of them was just really endearing. It's like, oh my gosh, this must have felt awful that you've been living like this all your life. But the other three were uh, a little bit more shocked. It was like, how can you do this to our mother and all of this stuff? And and so anyhow, there were a lot of things to work through, and we did. It was really great, and I was just really determined. And so, here there's 20 of us, and I was able to bring all my kids, all their spouses, all my grandchildren along with me. I lost she's now my ex, uh, the woman I married. She was the only one that wasn't willing to come along with me, and she was very adamant about not supporting this, and we don't even need to get into why that is. But uh, anyhow, I got a lot of advice and a lot of help, and that was just a major deal to me, and it was really important to me to bring everybody along, and so I did, and it's been working great. And one funny story. Um, it was soon after that I was giving one of my grandsons a ride, and where most of us are still in Louisville, Kentucky, and so I was giving my grandson a ride somewhere, picking him up or something, and I asked him, it's like, what, how are you doing with all of this stuff? And he said, oh well, me and the cousins, we had to talk about it, and we're all for you. It's like we're all
Oh,
no, it was me and the cousins had a meeting. That's what it
at a
was.
meeting.
We're
That's
okay with it.
nice. That is very.
That is so funny. It's
Bobby,
so
may I
cute
ask you a
too.
question? How old are your grandchildren? What is the age range?
Well, now they're 16, but I guess, gosh, they were just babies back then, all of them in elementary school and everything. So back then it was a long time ago. And um, and then there was one other thing though. Uh, I think I had 9 grandchildren at that. Anyhow, my last grandchild was born, and funny story about that was uh, it, Wendell. he he's getting to be 5 or 6 years old, and one day he was talking to his mom, and he says, "Well, his mom is my daughter," and so he says, "Well, my dad, I know that Keith is my dad's father, and Jane is my dad's mother, and I know that Gigi is your mama. Who's your father?" He's asking his man, Bobby, and he goes, "Whoa!" So, but anyhow, it's wonderful too. But
Oh my God.
here,
These
you
stories
know,
are priceless.
what? So that's a big
Wonderful.
expression in my family now. Whenever somebody doesn't understand anything, they go, "Whoa!"
That's a nice response, though. I have to tell you something. I was in Switzerland, a couple of weeks ago, with my son. So I've got two sons, which are, 40s, 30s, in the 30s, 40s. In Switzerland, I've got my daughter here in Florida, so in the United States. And I've got one grandchild. I mean, my kids are very, very, very lazy in making children. I mean, sorry. My oldest son has got one son. He doesn't want to have any more. My second son, he doesn't want to have any children whatsoever. Very, very European. It's very much like that. My daughter is now on the process of getting, of thinking about it. Anyway, my son is the curator of the Natural Historical Museum in a city called Basel in Switzerland. And and he invited me to go and see his newest exhibition that he did. And the exhibition is called Sexy. Okay. And Sexy is an exhibition about sex and sex parts, animals. Okay. And it is really quite interesting. And one of the themes of Sexy is about the diversity in animals as far as gender identity is concerned and as far as sex is concerned. The difference between in the animal world, not with us, but in the animal world, as far as sex is concerned, because he really made a beautiful statement there, which says that sex, as from sex at birth, there's more than two. There's
Right.
male There's female and there's various, diverse of intersex. And that
Mhm.
is exactly the same in what do you call that? Um, in the animal world and in the human world.
Uh-huh.
And in all animals have got some kind of things. Some are much more complex than that anyway. And then the other thing is gender and gender identity. And he says it is impossible to know if an animal has gender dysphoria. That is clear. You cannot test an animal for gender dysphoria, but the the gender in the animal kingdom is so varied. Um, you go to the clownfish, all clownfish are born male. And then during their life, they change to female with reproductive organs and they give kids. There are many animals which, where the male, mainly in the birds, where the male and the female have got different appearances. And in many, many birds, you have males which have got, they look like females.
Mhm.
And so it was very interesting. But then when we came out, so everybody knows my son there because he's the curator there of the thing. And they saw me. So my son, me, and my grandchild. And they said, "Oh, hello, and how are you?" And this is your mother. And he said, "Yeah, it's the grandmother of my son." It was so cute. So he was so nice because he didn't say father, but
Right.
he say he's the grandmother of my son.
Mhm.
So relationship in the family, but without kind of outing me, which was really quite an interesting thing. Sorry, Bobby, I was just interrupting you a little.
No, that's fine.
No, but it was a really great trip, and I mean, my grandson is 4 years old, and he was, what do you call it, skiing in the
Uh-huh.
mountains. It was quite incredible. In Switzerland, you start skiing about 4 years old.
Yeah.
I think that by the time you're 6 or 7, you know better skiing than you walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very typical Swiss.
Uh,
But Bobby, go ahead, or do you want someone else to
no,
go?
no. I just I had was very interested in this topic too, just because of the way technology's been changing our world. And I think I shared an article with you all a week or two ago. I think it was from the Atlantic, but it was just how isolation and technology has really taken a toll on people. How we are just attached to our screens more than anything, and a lot of it had to do with COVID and the lockdown and pandemic. But people are just uh, they don't have the kind of relationships they had among themselves when we were younger, and people just aren't hanging out as much anymore. And so you have to be more intentional about that these days. Uh, it's like the cards are stacked to keep us isolated. Unless we are very intentional about getting with friends and families and doing things together. And so I think it's more important than ever right now because it does take a toll on your health and your happiness and feeling of well-being and all of that. So
Absolutely, yeah. No, but we see many people having loneliness. That's true. I was just listening to the radio today, and there was a transgender woman, and she was talking about loneliness too. Jimmy, would you like to go ahead?
Sure, sure. It's nice to see everybody and nice to be back.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago today. I had hip replacement surgery on my right side. So I'm coming along and talk about isolation. When when we live our lives and we establish a program, a routine, and a lifestyle that involves work, family, fitness, food, leisure, and then have something like this come up where it totally disrupts your routine, your program. You know, we're talking about loneliness, and a big part of my social interaction occurs at the gym.
Right.
You know, I have a lot of friends at the gym, and so the gym provides several benefits: psychological stability, an opportunity to interact with other humans, and feel a healthy, fit body. And I've been in this position before with a ACL tear in my left knee, where I was down for maybe 6 months, and that's when I came back from that, and recovered and fully got back into fitness. I went on stage in a physique competition, and there is a organization called the International Association of Transgender Bodybuilders, and I went last year to be a spectator in one of their events in Atlanta. And so my looking forward on the other side of this is participating in one of these competitions as a transgender athlete. So I'm not really a computer person. I know a lot of folks have spent a lot of time on computers, but that's really not an issue for me. But what I will talk about with what Ella was talking about with her son's display at the museum, there's 6 billion people on the planet. There's 6 billion people on the planet. So the law of averages is there's going to be a lot of flavors of humans are going to be the same, and there's going to be a lot of flavors that are out in left field or, don't fit the norm. It's just the law of averages. And so I think there's a lot of political nonsense going on in our community, but I think all this will pass. But getting back to what Bobby was saying, we're humans, we're communal creatures. We need social interaction to maintain a healthy mental state of mind. And there's to do these, I'll use these Zoom calls as an example. It's good to see everybody on the Zoom screen. I'm doing this from my phone. Again, I don't really do computers, so this is all done on my phone, and it's nice to see everybody. But pre-pandemic, we would meet at Bonnie's house in Plantation, Florida, where her living room was set up as a studio. We had a table with our own trans flag cover. It said Trans Gurus coffee cups, which may or may not have had coffee in them. But it was the social camaraderie that was associated with that. When you have 4 or 5 or 6 folks sitting at a table discussing common interests, the discussions became lively because we were feeding off each other's energy. And it's just like there's no way you could play a basketball game on Zoom. You have to be there and interact with your other teammates. And to some degree, that's true here. It's sufficient. It works. It works because we're all in different geographic locations, but it would work better if we were all sitting at the same table, having face-to-face discussions with each other, and then feeling the vibe and the energy and the aura from each other. And that's I'll go back to the gym. You can work out at home, and you'll probably get a decent workout. But if you go to the gym and work out, you're going to feed off the energy of everyone else working out, and you're going to have a more intense workout. It's going to be more of an experience because you're surrounded by like-minded folks, and you're going to get psychologically and subconsciously different ideas and motivated by other people. And so you can eat at home or you can go to a restaurant. You can drink at home or you can go to a bar. You can listen to music at home or you can go to a concert. You can read a book at home or you can go to a library. So when you go specifically someplace to perform a specific task, it enhances the experience. And that's all part of the human condition in that we are communal creatures. We thrive on the presence of others. And the isolation that's associated with today's world is not good. And the highlight of my day is this meeting right here because I get to chat with y'all. I did go to physical therapy today, and that was good. But this is the icing on the cake right here, and it's good to be here with y'all.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely right about seeing people. One thing you tell that it's not the good times. Yeah, it is true. It's the difficult times right now. But I think what? I think it's more social media than reality. And I mean, there is still some people which are crazy, but it's mostly social media, from my perspective. Anyway, every time I go out, I never have an issue. That's for sure. Rachi, you go.
Hello. So, first of all, I have to say, Bobby, those stories about your family, priceless, just hilarious. I mean, your grandson, I think it was. That's just such a cute, funny story. Ella, I have a feeling that you are part of the inspiration for your son's exhibit or project. I really do. And Jimmy, I know before time, not much time is going to go by, and you will be up and running, lifting weights, and you'll probably be preparing for a marathon. Because if I know you, I know that's going to happen. And thank you for sharing too.
Absolutely.
What were you going to say, Jimmy?
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No, because if I know you, and then next I'll hear, oh well, I've been really working out to get ready for this marathon. Yeah, I had my hip replacement, but I'm all good now. So it's really great to to be together with you all. And I first want to say in regards to loneliness is you can be alone, but that doesn't mean you have to be lonely either. Because you can be in a room full of people and still be lonely.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of it has to do with the people that you surround yourself with and the connections that are made. As far as my family, it's a mixed bag. Thank God, I have family that, has been in my corner. They love and support me. And, I'm especially my mother. Oh my gosh, my mom has really been there. And I'm so grateful because I know a lot of trans people can't say that about, having their parents in their corner. My dad was a little bit of more of a tug of war and struggle, but before he passed, we had our connection moments, which I am so grateful to God Universe for. But there are family members that don't want to be bothered with me. And, for me, what I have grown to or evolved to is that, do I really want those family members in my circle or communicating with me anyway if they don't accept me and love me and appreciate me for who I am? So in a way, it's probably a favor. They're doing me a favor by not, by not being connected to me.
Correct.
But as human beings, we do certainly need our connections, however you get them. Whether it's your biological family or, your chosen family, because a lot of us in the LGBTQ community, we end up having chosen family, people that we link up with and we consider to be family. And that can be okay too. That can be just fine. And also just the connection of human beings. Like, even if you're not friends, like, I'll give you an example today. I go to this Publix and I love their subs. Well, I'm from Philly. We call them hoagies, but
Yeah.
I love Publix subs. And that I usually get the turkey one. And so there's a woman that works at Public, older woman, older African American woman. I hadn't seen her in a while, but like we're friendly. We're not friends, but I see her and she speaks and I speak and that sort of thing. So I'm at the deli ordering my sandwich, and I could feel like there was a guy off to the left of me that was kind of giving me like a look, and then behind me there was someone. You could feel the energy. But she finished my sandwich and she handed it to me, and I said, thank you so much. I said, thank you for always being so nice. And she says, you're good people. And she said it like everyone heard her, speak. She said, not a problem. It's my pleasure. She says, you are good people. And I appreciate good people. And me sharing this story, I'm sharing it to say that even in moments where you may feel like you don't have a connection with other human beings, there will always, I can almost guarantee, be that one person that connection will happen. And it's happened all over and over in my life journey. I've been places where I felt like, oh my God, like I don't feel comfortable here. But that one person will come along and there'll be that connection. And I think that connection is the key. We human beings, spirits of existence, living the human experience, we definitely need that connection with one another. And it can come from family, biological family, chosen family, or just, a woman at Publix that you don't really know, but you speak to when you see her and she speaks to you, or even a stranger, even a
Mhm.
stranger. Eller?
Absolutely. But you're talking about loneliness and our chosen family. And I think there is a very important thing that we can actually, communicate with our chosen family. I have to say, here we are in South Florida. South Florida, I mean, here the chosen family is huge. I mean, it's mainly where we live, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood Beach, up to Miami. We have such a lot of LGBTQ and transgender people around here. So there's always some people that we know which are not too far away, and I've got my preferred friends, and we walk out and everything. Unfortunately, it's not the same for all the transgender women, which are in places where there's literally nobody, but they are the only ones, and sometimes they're even scared of going out because, they can be, can have some difficult moments,
Yeah.
and so. We are very lucky. That's quite true here in South Florida. Um, I have to say, I am very lucky too because, I don't have a very big issue with passing, and I'm luckier than most. And I go all over the world, and people talk with me and are nice with me, and not all of them understand what's going on with me, you know. And I don't go out all the time and say, hey, by the way, I'm transgender, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do if I've got some kind of you know, relationship, which I think it's interesting, and I think I understand that there will be some acceptance, but it's not always the case, you know. But I have to tell as well that a very big part of my friends worldwide, they all know that I am transgender because I am part of this alumni club, and everybody there knows we are 7,000 people, and everybody knows that we are that, you know, everybody knows me, you know, and we just had a very big reunion, and there are some homophobes, there are some transphobic people there, and some people asking, why the hell do you have a pride group? And our president, you know, defended us pretty nicely. So that was very, very nice as well. But, you know, it is important in life that you can be alone without loneliness.
Yeah.
It's very important for your mental health. Um, you know, that you have some time, you know, read a book, um, have the time to do, and don't always rely on social media, because I mean, right now, I think that I do believe that a big part of this kind of anti-trans community is mostly in the social media, and
Mhm.
probably because wherever I go, I don't feel that. I don't feel that there is a big, well, you know, I don't know what you think, but I mean, I go everywhere, and even people know me, I'm trans. It's a minority of people which are against us.
Mhm.
It really is. But they have got a big mouth, so what do you want to do? That's the thing. I don't know, but you know, that's the way it goes. Uh, I'm a proud transgender woman. I am, but you know, I've got my businesses, and some of the people in the business know that I'm trans. Some of they don't. So that's it. But and I've got my friends. But my friends, I mean, most of my friends, they know. Most, I mean, I think about 99% of my friends know that I'm trans. They don't mind. So you know. So this is, but it's loneliness is certainly an important thing. Um, to you know, but be careful. Being alone does not mean being lonely, as you were telling, Bobby. Um, the person which was talking on the radio, it was very funny because she did say, she just wrote a book, and she said that she was lonely as a transgender person, and she said as well repeatedly, because there's no any transgender women around her. There's
Mhm.
no, so she's a little bit lonely. But she said, but you know, I'm lonely, but I'm extremely happy because I've changed.
Mhm.
And this is interesting. This is really interesting. And she found her own, you know, her own corner within her own, with herself. So, and I
Mhm.
think that is very important.
No,
I don't know.
no.
Well,
We're also different, and you know, things just over time, you know, our environment changes and maybe our strategy changes and so forth. But um, I just decided I was going to be openly transgender. I really couldn't avoid it just because of the way my marriage imploded and all this other stuff. I really didn't have the convenience of being stealth or going starting all over again where nobody. It's like I just I had to just come out in all the places where I'd worked, and they were all like universities and public schools, and you know they're just full of. I mean, you know, you want to think about people that could say mean things. It's like, well, middle school kids or faculty people or, and so I just, it's like I played to tough audiences. That's the way I've had to think about it. Because I've taught every grade from kindergarten through 12th. I've taught every undergraduate level from freshman to senior, and every graduate school level from, people working on masters and specialists and postdoc and everything. And so it's like, I I don't I don't know anybody else. I'm sure there are some people that have taught everything from kindergarten to postdoctoral, but I played with a tough audience. I really do, and I enjoy it because I thought a long time ago that most people don't know a transgender person, and it was like, damn it, I'm a I'm a really good one for you to know, and I want you to know me. And so that's just had to be my attitude. It's like uh, I want to be known, and so I make it my business to be friendly in my neighborhood. Whenever I'm someplace like a restaurant or something, I want to have a reputation for being a good tipper. I always give at least 20% or even more, and I talk to people and I try to know the people that I see every day in the grocery store and get to know them and it just I these days I'm having to be a little bit more discreet about that, but not much more because a whole lot of people in my neighborhood already know about me. And like I had moved into a condo um, community when I bought the house I'm in now, and I just informed everybody in that the board of directors. It's like, I just made a brief announcement. It was a before and after picture, and it just said, notice of change in legal identifiers. It was effective this date. My legal first name changed from Robert to Bobby. My gender marker changed from male to female. And I just sent that out to the board of directors of my community. I didn't write a big, long letter of apology or explanation or anything like that. It's just like, take note. Something has changed about my identity, and you need to know it. My first name is different. My gender marker is different. The end. And I was just really so pleased at how well my community just, okay, it's not a big deal. And now it's like 9 years later, I've been living there, and they're just also friendly and everything. They want to take care of my stuff when I'm traveling, and when I'm there, they want to go out and hang out and stuff like that. And so I've just made it a point to be social. I'm not really a very, I'm kind of introverted, but I just, because of the environment, because most people don't know a trans person, I was just saying, well, dadgummit, I'm a really good one for you to know. So there you go. And um, and so far it's been working. Nothing bad has ever happened to me. Uh,
Mm.
at least to my face. I don't know what people say behind my back, but face, but to my face, people are really kind and generous to me and hospitable and eager to help. And I just uh, I did go through a divorce, but then I got remarried, and then I lost her to cancer, and now I'm engaged again. And it's like, I just um, life has been good. I'm not. I, I know everything's trying to make me fearful and want to withdraw, but I'm just not falling for it right now. I'm really not.
But you bring actually a very important point, because somehow we all are ambassadors of the transgender
Yeah,
community. And
yeah.
when we come out, we have to be a little bit of ambassadors of that. And it doesn't make any difference how you look or how you, but if you're correct, people appreciate that.
Mhm.
Jimmy,
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
go ahead, say something.
I think it's important that we are our own best friend.
Yep.
You know, in my personal situation, I was married for a long time, and it was 14 years ago, I lost my wife to cancer. And now I've been living alone for such a long time that um, I've adapted. So I've become my own best friend. You know,
Mhm.
and I have friends, you know, I have folks that come and check on me and we go to dinner and stuff. But for the most part, um, I'm my own best friend. You know, I usually take myself to dinner.
Yeah.
Um, and so if we can master the art of being alone, just like Raji said, being alone and not lonely, that is a huge step towards self-mastery, where
Yeah.
we don't need uh, distraction or, you know, I go to a lot of places there people are working or something and they got the AM talk radio on or something like that with some sort of background noise.
Hmm.
I understand that, but me, I usually prefer silence. You know, I don't need like a voice in the background that I think if we can master the art of being our own best friend and being alone without being lonely,
Mhm.
that gives us huge. Um, there's a huge psychological benefit in achieving that,
Hmm.
and I think uh, that that builds confidence in our own decision making ability. Where if we're alone, there's you know we have to make all these decisions ourselves, and
Mhm.
so that reinforces our decision making ability and helps them develop. You know, we don't need someone else as a crutch.
Yep.
You know, we're able to stand on our own 2 feet and face the world.
Hmm.
You know, without someone holding our hand, so to speak.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, you have to be your own best friend. But you know, even if you are in a very with lots of people, it's the same thing. I had two marriages. Okay, I was married the first time for 15 years and the second time for 25 years. So I spent more time married than unmarried. So, you know, sometimes I really do appreciate now not to have a relationship and say, you know, what the hell do I want to do today? You know, I don't have to ask anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
You know, what do I want to cook for someone? Oh, you know, I don't have to worry about what they have to eat, you know.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that is something very important. Although my grandson, he defined my age again. I always thought I was 25 plus, but I'm not anymore. He asked me the very simple question at 4 years old. How many years do you have until you are 100?
Oh my God, he asked that?
Like if it is the most normal thing in the world to get 100 years old, you know? So
Oh
my
You
my,
can do it.
my age now is how many years I have to get 100. So
Uh,
out of the mouth of babes, out of the
yeah.
mouth of babes, I tell you.
Um,
it was quite cute. It was quite cute. Raji, your turn. Come on, girl.
Sure, sure. So for me, I've never been married. Um, that just didn't happen for me. I first of all, I don't think I could have even pretended to like live the heterosexual cisgendered role even before I transitioned. And with my relationships with men, you know, a lot of those, most of those relationships have been like, you know, the whole like you're the side girl, you know, the side chick, and you know, not being able to get like the full dynamic of what a relationship is. I
mhm.
don't get me wrong, like I've had what I would consider some meaningful connections, but not what I think society would typically look at as like a relationship. And so I have had to get used to being alone and not having that uh, person like this, that partner that I live with, husband that I live with. And it's to the point now where I don't even think if it was offered to me, I would want it because I'm so comfortable being alone in my space, my living space, that I
Uh-huh.
don't know if I could deal with having to compromise. I like my whole bed to myself. and and so that's another thing that's so typical of us trans people is we make lemon meringue pie out of lemons. In many ways we learn to do that with many different things and aspects in our life. And I there was a time I wanted to be married when I was in my late 20s going into my early 30s. I desired that. I even desired at one time to be able to have children, but then that didn't last very long. And I realized in my journey that everyone doesn't have to go down the same quote unquote standard of whatever or typical journey or typical thing. I mean, I look at my sister and we have the same parents, same father and mother. We grew up in the same household, and her life looks very different than mine. And it's one of those things where she went to college, she got her master's. She met my brother-in-law in college. He has his PhD, his doctorate. They live in the suburbs of Pennsylvania in a California style home. My niece and my nephew, two kids. It's kind of like the American dream, two kids and a dog and a white picket fence. And my life is very different. It looks very different. And there were moments where I would find myself starting to compare. And then I would stop and say, well, no, 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 no. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journey is different. And would I even want my sister's life? Because I'm not designed that way. So I have been able to find my happiness in the way my life is. And oftentimes that means being alone, being
Yeah.
alone. Yeah, but not lonely.
Right.
Not, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Raji, come on, we all come here and we all have got some kind of divine work that we have to do in for our lives, from our souls. And
Yeah,
I think that if everybody would have the same one, it would be absolutely boring,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Um, yeah.
It
You
really
know,
is.
but if I could interject something, Raji, you just reminded me something I should have said, but I didn't say anything else. I should have said this. Um, uh, Soon after my divorce and everything, I was feeling really yucky and all, um, and I was out with one of my best friends. We it was like every weeknight a bunch of us would go to this bar and we just drink, all night long. And so anyhow, I'm sitting at a table talking with my best friend in this bar, and both of us had, we'd get hit on every now and then, but we knew what was up with that. It's just a lot of people are just curious about what it would be like. And so anyhow, so my best friend, she turns to me, she says, no, really, really, who would want us? Who would want to take us home and introduce us to their parents? Really, it's like who's going to take you home to meet their family? And that really, now, negativity and self-image and all that stuff aside, when she said that, it really made a deep impression on me because 35 years of marriage had just imploded on me. And and I started thinking about that, and I realized that, you might be right. I may never have another intimate relationship with another human being. I may not have that. And I thought about it a lot that night and the next day, and I realized, holy smokes, I'm going to have to redefine my definition of companionship. And in
Mhm.
my mind, companionship had meant marriage, family, that kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm going to have to redefine what that means. And I had to stop and take inventory. It was like, now that I'm out and I'm honest and I don't have to lie anymore about who I am and that stuff, it's like, I have got the best friends I've ever had in my life. I enjoy being with them. They enjoy being with me. I am not faking my life anymore. I'm in charge. I'm living the life I've always wanted to live. And and I'm going to change my definition of companionship to be, I have got the best friends I've ever had, and we love hanging out together. And I just got real happy. I got
Mm.
real happy about that, okay, I may never have another intimate physical relationship again, but I've never had best friends like I've got now. And that was incredibly valuable to me. And so just after that night of like, well, who would want us? I just decided I was going to get really happy with my decisions and what I was doing. And I just got really happy. That's the only thing I know. And I just started living as a happy person. And that's when I got blindsided by love. It was like, holy smokes, bam, it knocks me off my feet. And I realized that's really all it is. People are looking for other happy people. And I think we all have to get to that point. It's like, happiness is something that has to come from inside of us. I can't hope to find a Mr. Right or Miss Right to make me happy. I can't, destination stuff. It's like when I get this job or when I move here, then I'll be happy. And it's like, no, you have to have that happiness from inside of you. And I think that was the fundamental decision that changed everything about my transgender experience. I just decided I was going to be happy with the choices I've made in life. And then it's like people want to know happy people. And it was like, holy smokes, this is great. And that's all that happened.
Absolutely, yeah. And
Bobby, sorry, go ahead, Ella.
it's really important because many of the relationships, they are not happy because they are relying on the others.
Yeah,
Yes. And I was going to say, Bobby, what you did is whether you know it or not, you used universal law in a very orchestrated way. You didn't do it by default. And what I mean by that is you attract what you give attention to. And that whole thing of see it to believe it, or do you believe it to see it? What you did, you took what your friend said to you, and you could have gone down the rabbit hole with that. You could have said, oh my God, I'm trans, and what have I done to my life? And I'm not going to have a relationship. But instead, what you did is you focused on the good things that had manifested about your life since you had transitioned.
yeah,
And so the universe gave you more of it. And that was a beautiful thing for you to declare that, you know what? This might be the way I get my relationships, through having like really good friends. Instead of saying, oh my God, I destroyed my life. I'm not going to have any, I'm not going to be able to have a relationship. So what you did was so powerful, whether you knew it or not in that moment. what you did is you chose to focus on the things that made you happy and brought you joy. Therefore, you were able to attract and receive more things that make you happy and bring you joy.
You know, and it's ironic too, because I had a marriage and a big family, but I was really lonely because I was fake. Everybody I knew I had to keep at arm's length because there's only so far they could get in because I had this big, deep, dark secret. And, you know, to have people that like you, uh, uh, even when they know your big, deep, dark secret, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I've never had best friends like I had after I came out, and it was glorious to me. It's like, holy smokes, I'm older than dirt, and I finally got some best friends. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are now for the last roundy, a small round. Jimmy, your last words, girl.
No, I think we covered some awesome stuff. And what Raji was talking about, or Bobby actually, um, happiness is not a destination. It's a method of travel.
Mhm.
And another thing Bobby said too, you just decide, you just make a decision that um, there's another way we can look at it too, is that if we respond to events in our life as opposed to reacting to events in our life. So when we respond to events in our life, it's more of a harmonious action, response. When we react to things, a reaction usually indicates some sort of violent action. So, we just need to respond to events in life and realize that, happiness is not a destination. It's a method of travel. But good to see you all.
Yeah.
The road. It's the road. Yep. Raji,
Yeah,
last
sure.
word.
Yeah, I love that whole thing about not the destination, it's the journey or the travel. Because is there ever really a destination? I mean, with our existence, like really is there ever like a final destination? So it's probably really advisable to get comfortable in the journey and embrace the moments, because that's all we have is like this moment, and try to be happy and find the things that make us happy. I just want to say to anyone that's trans that's watching this, that if you're somewhere and you feel lonely and you feel like maybe you made the wrong decision by transitioning, and because of that you are now suffering from loneliness, do not fret, because you will see, if you're not seeing it yet, you will see your life be able to unfold in such optimal ways. And you'll attract people that, like minded people, people that are going to love and support and respect you. And ask yourself, because I do this from time to time, could I have lived my life any other way?
Oh,
Would I have, would, if I could, would I take back being trans? And I, I in this moment, honestly can't say that I would. Like, this is me. This is what it's been designed to be. And I just don't, I can't even really imagine my life not being trans, as hard as it's been and as much as I've been through. So trust and believe you won't be lonely for very long. Ella.
It's true. So, Bobby, your last words.
just what Raji said. I just Yeah, I agree with you. It was, I spent years doing the same thing. It's like I've been cursed. It's like, why did God make me trans? Is it just because I want to be sure there's enough people to fill up hell? It was like I tell myself all this crazy stuff. And I looked at it as a curse, but then, it's like as life has unfolded, it was like I just couldn't have become who I was meant to be without dealing with this and pushing through it uh and um and choosing to be happy about it. And the other thing is I I'm real active in my community, and there are a lot of people really suffering from
Sure.
depression and all kinds of stuff, and the loneliness is really eating away at them. And I've told them that story about I just decided to get happy because I'm in charge. I'm living the way this is something I've always dreamed about, and I decided to get happy about it. And they get angry with me. It's like you just can't decide to get happy. You don't understand. And I've had people get really angry with me and about that, want to unfriend me when I just suggest it, you need to get really happy. But I don't have any other answer. I really don't. So, um,
Yeah, I have to tell you something. The other day there was a discussion in one of the social medias about why are you trans, And my answer was that why are there people which are right-handed and others are left-handed? It's the same thing.
mhm, yeah,
What else? It's just the way you are.
mhm,
Uh, is there any more? I mean, I don't, and by the way, never forget, 100 years ago, English people which had left-handed kids would oblige them to write with the right hand.
yeah,
It's
Sure.
nothing else, nothing different, nothing different.
mhm,
The acceptance of left-handed people is relatively, and I've got a son which is left-handed, by the way. So, you know, but it's what do you call it? It's new. Anyway, if you're lonely, it probably was not going to cure all loneliness, but it is going to give you some good feelings, and it is to meditate, because meditate gives you inner, you know, peace and contentment, and that will help you. If it is in the gym that you meditate, like Jimmy does, or if it is at home, it doesn't make any difference. But try to find your inner balance by thinking
Ella, I
about
just
it.
want to say this. This comes to mind too before we close. Is the whole thing of like you talking about meditating to find your happiness and your place of solace. And Bobby, you said about making a decision to be happy. And I get how a lot of people aren't able to receive that because I've gotten the same reactions too when I try to share. Everyone's going at their own pace and in their own time and all. But I would say do whatever it takes to find some sort of joy. If it's listening to some song that you like, reading a book that you like, going for a walk in the park, getting something delicious to eat, do whatever it takes to pull you out of that and give you some joy. And the joy is contagious. So if you can get to that spot where you can find a little joy, you'll be more will come, and you'll be able to find more. I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
Absolutely right. Thank you. I call that. I call my daily win. It doesn't make any difference if it's a big win or a small win, or just a pleasure that I do myself. But to do that every single day, it will make you a better person, and it will make you happier. So. Anyway, with those words, thank you for listening to us. I think it's time to close now. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to us, and have a great week. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Bye, everybody.
How much